CARS3 by Disney Pixar. Read by the new storyteller. Lightning McQueen was a special race car with a top speed of 200 miles per hour. He was fast, but speed alone does not win races. Lightning had to learn courage, loyalty, and the value of friendship to become a true champion. Now, he's the proud owner of 7 Piston Cups. It was the first race of the season at the Motor Speedway of the South. Lightning McQueen was leading the pack ahead of his rivals Carl Weathers and Bobby Swift. All 3 cars stopped for new tires, but Lightning came out of the pits the quickest to hold on to his lead. The 3 cars battled. It was a race to the finish. Then Lightning burned round the final bend to take the checkered flag. Ka-chow! The next race in Arizona saw Lightning tear up the track just as before. With 1 lap to go, this time McQueen and Swift were going head-to-head. But as the flag came out, a slick black racer made his move. Jackson Storm zoomed past them both to take the victory. "Heh, what a pleasure 'tis to finally beat you," Storm teased Lightning after the race. Everyone was shocked that a rookie had beaten Lightning McQueen. In the television studio, Natalie Surton and Chick Hicks looked back over the race. Jackson Storm is part of the next generation of high-tech racers. The racing world is changing, and next gens like Storm are taking advantage, Natalie explained. For the better, if it means that my old pal Lightning is out for the count, said Chick Hicks, chuckling. The new season was about to get interesting. The next few races saw Storm beat McQueen every time. No matter how hard he revved his engine, Lightning just couldn't keep up. His old friend Carl Weathers retired, and Rick Yardley was replaced by a next gen. But Lightning wasn't about to give up. He loved racing too much. By the time the last race of the season came round, Lightning had a plan to beat Storm. If Lightning made a steady start, he could save his speed to overtake Storm in the final laps. Lightning zoomed out of the pits with new tires and plenty of fuel to take the lead. Lightning pushed as hard as he could, but Storm quickly caught up. "Enjoy your retirement," Storm laughed as he sped past Lightning. Oh, what a rotten racer. Lightning pushed himself to the max until suddenly one of his tires blew. His friends in the crowd gasped as he lost control and went spinning across the track. A terrified Lightning flipped into the air in a cloud of sparks and smoke. Crash! At last, he skidded to a stop. Lightning sat alone in Doc's garage in Radiator Springs. Months had passed since his big crash. Are Lightning McQueen's racing days really over? The radio crackled. Lightning sighed. Then he watched a film of an old race, the one where the fabulous Hudson Hornet had crashed. Doc Hudson had never raced again. Sally and Mater visited Lightning to try to get him to train again. With his friends there to help, Lightning decided he wasn't ready to quit just yet. Lightning knew what he had to do. All his friends in Radiator Springs gathered round as Lightning spoke to his Rusty's sponsors. Dusty and Rusty had exciting news. They invited him to the brand new Rusty's Racing Center, which had everything that Lightning needed to help him become a champion again. After getting a cool new paint job from Ramon, Lightning rolled onto Mac's trailer, feeling great. Rusty's Racing Center, here we come, Lightning smiled. But when he arrived at the racing center, there was another surprise in store for Lightning. Rusty and Dusty had sold the Rusty's brand to a new sponsor. Sterling was in charge now. Sterling was a big Lightning McQueen fan and had collected memories from some of Lightning's biggest wins. There were even some jars of dirt on display, taken from all the different Piston Cup tracks. Wow, Lightning said. Sterling showed Lightning the training area. Lightning couldn't believe his eyes. Is that what I think it is? He gasped, staring up at a big racing simulator. 3 next-gen racers cheered as a yellow car on the simulator took the checkered flag. It looked just like being on a real track. Who's the racer? Lightning asked. No, she's a trainer. The best in the business, Sterling replied. The yellow car's name was Cruz Ramirez, and she was going to be Lightning's new trainer. All the young racers looked up to her. She was a cool and calm car who had great speed too. Plus, she knew what to do to get the best out of her trainees. If anyone could help Lightning make a comeback, it would be Cruz. Training began straight away with some simple exercises, but all Lightning wanted to do was to try the simulator. Instead, Cruz made Lightning join the others on the treadmills. While the next-gens zoomed along super fast on their machines, Cruz had set Lightning's treadmill to just 5 miles an hour. We need to save your energy, she explained. We'll work on your speed after your nap. Lightning was not happy, but Cruz was right. Lightning felt much better after a short sleep. When another racer rolled off the simulator, Lightning saw his chance. He sped away from Cruz and drove up the simulator ramp. How do I launch this thing? Lightning wondered. Mr. McQueen, wait until you can handle it, Cruz called, chasing after him. Sterling drove up to watch his Star Racer in action, but Lightning lost control and crashed through the simulator screen. Cruz asked the boss to give Lightning a second chance, but Sterling wanted to talk to Lightning alone. He called Lightning into his office, which was packed with Lightning McQueen posters, flags, cardboard cutouts, and even mud flaps. Sterling told Lightning that he wanted him to give up racing and get rich making movies and television adverts instead. Racing is the reward, Lightning tried to explain. I don't want to cash in, he begged Sterling to give him a chance to make a comeback. Lightning was done with treadmills and simulators. He needed to train his own way and get his tires dirty. Sterling agreed that Lightning could go to Florida with Cruz to compete in the Florida 500, the first race of the Piston Cup season. But if Lightning didn't win, it was to be his last race. Lightning and Cruz headed out onto Fireball Beach to start training. Lightning raced to the pier at top speed. Cruz had planned to drive alongside him to track his speed, but she couldn't keep up with him. Her wheels just spun on the soft sand. Lightning tried to show Cruz what to do, but she kept getting stuck. Then at last she tracked him all the way to the pier. But Lightning's top speed was still slower than Storm's. Lightning needed to race against real racers. When he spotted a sign for the Thunder Hollow Speedway, he had an idea. He would race against the track there in disguise. He didn't want the cameras following his every move. Soon, Mac's trailer was transformed into a party supplies truck, and Lightning was covered from bumper to bumper in mud. His famous number 95 was now a muddy number 15. They rolled up to the speedway just as the race was starting. Lightning introduced himself as Chester Whipple Filter. Then, to Lightning's surprise, Cruz drove up beside him. She joined the race under the name Francis Beltline. Cruz was going to track Lightning's speed from the middle of the stadium. Welcome to Thunder Hollow for tonight's Crazy 8, the announcer boomed. Lightning and Cruz looked at each other, scared, as stacks of tires exploded and cars began to smash into each other all around them. This wasn't a normal race. It was a demolition derby, and there was no escape. "Make way for the undefeated champion, Miss Fitter," the announcer roared, as a terrifying school bus thundered onto the track and charged towards Cruz. Cruz couldn't move. She was frozen with fear, but Lightning spotted the danger and pushed Cruz to safety just in time. The action continued until a huge water tanker tipped over, spraying Lightning with water and washing away his muddy disguise. "It's Lightning McQueen!" gasped a fan in the crowd. After the race, Lightning was not impressed. None of Cruz's training had helped improve his speed. "This is my last chance, Cruz," he said angrily. "If you were a racer, you'd know what I'm talking about, but you're not." "I wanted to become a racer forever," Cruz cried. "But the other racers were bigger and stronger. I didn't belong." She wished him good luck before speeding away back towards the Rusty's Racing Center. Later, inside Mac's trailer, Lightning couldn't sleep. He decided to call Mater. "Tell me what the problem is and we'll fix it," Mater smiled. Lightning sighed. Doc could always fix Lightning's problems, but he wasn't around to help anymore. "There is nobody smarter than old Doc," Mater agreed. "Except for maybe whoever taught him." That was it. Lightning had to find Doc's old crew chief, Smokey. The next morning, Mac and Lightning headed for Thomasville, Doc Hudson's hometown racetrack. On the way, they rode up alongside Cruz. "Come with us," Lightning said to Cruz. "I'm sorry I yelled." Cruz came on board at last. Lightning told her about his plan to find Smokey. They travelled on for miles until Lightning spotted an old sign. "Welcome to Thomasville, home of the fabulous Hudson Hornet," it read. The old Thomasville track was no longer in operation, but it was still perfect for racing. Lightning and Cruz couldn't stop themselves from testing it out. They whipped round the track. Lightning couldn't remember the last time he had so much fun, but as they skidded round the next bend, the cars had to brake hard. A figure stood before them on the track. It was Smokey. "I know why you're here," Smokey said to Lightning. "You're thirsty." Puzzled, Lightning and Cruz followed the old truck. Smokey introduced Lightning and Cruz to his friends, 3 racing legends who had competed with Doc, or Hud as they called him. Smokey told a story about a famous race where Hud had flipped over the top of another racer in the home straight to take the victory. Cruz and Lightning were amazed. Later on, Smokey and Lightning rode outside. "I need your help, Smokey," Lightning said. They talked about Doc. "Racing was the best part of his life," said Lightning. Lightning didn't want to think that his own best years were behind him. Smokey smiled. He agreed that had it been sad after his big crash, but told Lightning that being his crew chief had made Hud happier than he had ever been. Racing wasn't the best part of his life. You were, Smokey said kindly. They headed back to the Thomasville track. Smokey had some wise words for Lightning. You'll never be as fast as Storm, he explained, but you can be smarter than him. To beat Jackson's Storm, Lightning was going to need a training partner. So Guido and Luigi worked speedily, fitting racing tires and a sporty spoiler to Cruz. They even taped Jackson's Storm 2.0 to her side. Cruz was good to go this time, though as a racer, not a trainer. Smokey gave Cruz a head start of 3 laps. The racers took off together, but Lightning couldn't catch Cruz. There was work to do if Lightning was going to beat the real Storm. Smokey trained Lightning and Cruz hard. They pulled heavy trailers, dodged bales of hay, and even steered through a stampede of tractors. As they raced through the wood, Lightning's new wrap tore away. The training was tough, but Lightning wasn't about to give up. He was starting to feel like his old self again. There was time for one last race in Thomasville before they had to head to Florida. Cruz had just a quarter-lap head start this time. Lightning went out fast. He'd never felt better. He pushed hard round the bend, but it was Cruz who finished first. Lightning crossed the finish line and slowed to a stop. He was shocked. Even after all his hard work, he still wasn't fast enough. Lightning was out of time. He needed to head to Florida. The day of the Florida 500 race arrived. The stadium was packed full of fans, excited to watch a great day of racing. All the gang from Radiator Springs had come to cheer on Lightning. Smokey was there as Lightning's crew chief, and Cruz and Sterling were in the pits too. The racers were called to the grid. Lightning took a deep breath as he waited for the green flag to drop. He took off, and to everyone's surprise, number 95 made a strong start. Lightning pushed hard and began overtaking the racers in front. Cruz tried to help, giving instructions to Smokey to pass on through his headset, but Sterling saw her and ordered Cruz back to the racing center. "Take off those racing tires," he told her. "You're a trainer, Cruz, not a racer." Lightning heard every word as the race continued. All he could think about was Cruz, her speed on the simulator, all their races in training, and how Cruz had beaten him every time. Straight ahead, a car smashed into the wall. Lightning swerved and headed immediately into the pits. I need Cruz back here, Lightning told Smoky over his headset. He had realized that Cruz was a racer after all. A puzzled Cruz rode into the pit lane. Guido, Luigi, and Ramon worked quickly. When they had finished, Cruz had the number 95 painted on his side. Lightning's number. Lightning looked at Cruz proudly. "Today's the day, Cruz. You're getting your shot," he told her. "I started the race and you're going to finish it." As the race resumed, everyone was amazed to see a different number 95 on the track. The green flag dropped and they were off. Cruz started slowly, but Lightning knew what to do. He asked Smokey for the headset and took over as crew chief. Lightning told Cruz to think back to their training and imagine that Miss Fritter from the Demolition Derby was on her tail. Then he got her to remember the stampede of tractors in Thomasville. Cruz imagined the cars as tractors. She looked for windows to steer round the other racers. The plan worked, and Cruz began overtaking the cars one by one. "Go, go, go!" called Lightning. With a lap to go, Cruz drew up alongside Storm. Storm was desperate to win. He wasn't about to let some rookie beat him. Cruz tried to pass on the outside, but Storm swerved hard, crushing her against the wall. "You don't belong on this track," Storm yelled. "Yes, I do," she cried. Remembering Doc's move, Cruz flipped up and over Storm. She touched down again on the track in front of Storm, crossing the finish line in first place. The crowd went wild, and Lightning couldn't have been more proud of his friend. Sterling interrupted the celebrations. "I could use you as a racer on our team," he said to Cruz. "Sorry, Mr. Sterling. I would never race for you," Cruz replied. Instead, Cruz accepted an offer from Tex to race for Dynaco. The Lightning and Cruz were announced as joint winners. Lightning hadn't lost the race, so he didn't have time to retire. No movies, no TV ads. Lightning had plenty of racing left in him yet. If that's what he wanted. Sterling left the stadium feeling almost as angry as Storm. A few days later, Lightning and Cruz were back in training at Willisbad. Cruz drove up in a Dynaco paint job wearing Doc's old number 51. Lightning had a new look too. On his side read the words, "The Fabulous Lightning McQueen, Crew Chief." He knew his racing days weren't over, but for now, he was devoted to getting Cruz ready for her next big race. It didn't matter who was the racer and who was the trainer. Lightning and Cruz were both true champions. And that's the end of the story of Cars 3 by Disney Pixar. Read by the new storyteller. Happy birthday, Kaylee. Peace out. That's your style.
Pretty woman walking down the street. Pretty woman, I kinda like to meet. Pretty woman, I don't believe you can't be true. No one could look as good as you. Mercy. Pretty woman, won't you pardon me? Pretty woman, I couldn't help but see. Pretty woman, that she look lovely as can be. Are you lonely just like me? Wow. Pretty woman, stop a while. Pretty woman, talk a while. Pretty woman, give your smile to me. Pretty woman, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty woman, look my way. Pretty woman, say you'll stay with me. 'Cause I need you. I'll treat you right. Come with me past it. Be mine tonight. Pretty woman, don't you walk on by. Pretty woman, don't you make me cry. Pretty woman, don't walk away. Hey, okay, if that's the way it must be. Okay, I guess I'll go on home, it's late. There'll be tomorrow night. But wait, what do I see?